Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Sonia KE. I want to discuss about maladaptive daydreaming. So I don't know if you've heard about the term or not, or if you're hearing of it for the first time. Either way, it's something that you probably need to be keen about or to think about. Let's start by defining it. Maladaptive daydreaming is just the normal kind of daydreaming, but this is a psychological term that has been used to describe it when now it's affecting your day-to-day life. So individuals experiencing maladaptive daydreaming often become deeply absorbed in elaborate fantasies or daydreams for extended periods, sometimes even hours. Um, the key difference between the normal daydreaming, like the difference between the normal daydreaming and the maladaptive daydreaming, lies in the extent to which it interferes with your daily functioning. With maladaptive daydreaming, significant impairing one's ability to carry out responsibilities and engage in real world activities. So, maladaptive daydreaming is the one that affects your day to day life. It affects the things that you need to do and concentration and things like that. Maladaptive daydreaming may arise as a coping mechanism or for an underlying emotional distress, boredom, often by vivid imaginations. You have this creative tendency in your own fantasies, you have characters that are now affecting your day-to-day life. Imagine spending hours and hours just thinking about a world that you have created on your own. Personally, and the reason why I think this is necessary to share is that I found myself in such situations, and sometimes I might even come to work with a plan of exactly what I want to do, but you end up just starting to switch off and think about things that don't even exist and just try to create your own world. I don't know if for me, maybe there's an underlying issue, but what I'm saying is that when you realize that you're going through this, then it's important for you to seek medical help. Some of the features of maladaptive daydreaming are things like excessive daydreaming. As I've said, excessive. That means 1 hour you're okay, maybe 30 minutes you're doing something. It's even interfering with your normal concentration. You can't do something continuously for a long period of time. Always it interrupts you because you've built these funny characters in your head that you want to keep on, sort of experiencing in a world that doesn't exist. Then if you have difficulty controlling them, again, as I said, it's like after 30 minutes you want to go back to that daydream. After 10 minutes, if you're alone, you can't really focus and do things. Then if it's impacting your normal functioning, that is also a problem. And then time, if it's consuming most of your time, then you also need to be sure that it's maladaptive, and then at that point you need to get some help. How to stop it? Number one is you have to be aware that you have a problem for you to even solve a problem. So the first thing is awareness, is being aware that I have this tendency to gear off or to switch off or to daydream or to think about things that don't exist. That's the first step. Realizing, being aware of it. And if you're aware of it, that means that you're also able to catch yourself in the act, or you know when you're going off. So the first step to controlling it or to stopping it is be aware of when you go through it. Number two is know your triggers. What makes you switch off? Is it boredom? Is it are you living in a place where you're not happy and you need to create these realities for you to survive? Is it what is it? What is your trigger? Knowing your trigger really helps you to address the issue, because now you avoid the triggers. For example, if it's the home where you're in and maybe you're probably not accepted, or you're feeling that there's something else that can be done about it, then maybe that's an environment you can't move out of immediately. But what you can do is get something else that you can do. Can you read a book in that same environment if instead of daydreaming? If a book gets you bored, what is it that you can do that is beneficial to your time that can replace it? So know your triggers and find a way of replacing the triggers that make you go into this very deep daydreaming. And then again, engage in real life activities. If you daydream when you are in bed, or when you are asleep or when you're bored, then get yourself a hobby. Go play football or watch football or hang out with friends. Even if you're not social, because some of these things that I've realized that sometimes it's about being an introvert, which is not an excuse to letting maladaptive daydreaming take up all your time. get something that you can do socially that probably would distract you from the normal, switching off into daydreaming. Maybe in the weekends, even if it's at work. Practical things, maybe have a discussion with your colleagues, give yourselves challenges in terms of, goals for the day. Like today, I want you to do this amount of work or do this amount of work because you are targeting this, get into a life of socializing and getting to understand that there are things that you need to achieve each and every day. Also, that also helps. Give yourself targets in terms of where you want to be in the short term and the long term goals, and then these targets will push you to concentrate into achieving them. Then reward yourself every time you achieve something good. The reason why maladaptive daydreaming is destructive is, as I've said, you waste a lot of time. Other than wasting time, then maybe after wasting time, you realize that probably your friends, if, for example, if you're in school, then maybe people are passing and you're not. There's always consequences to these extreme things, yeah? And clearly the consequences are negative because your time is being occupied by things that shouldn't occupy your time. So if, for example, even in terms of work, if you're not achieving your goals and your targets, then you're going to be fired. And if it's at home, and probably the responsibilities that you have, if you're daydreaming and you have a child and the child drowns, there's always consequences to our actions. So for me, it has really affected because I feel like I live in a world of daydream to the point that when I come back to the real world, I feel like I'm behind. Because instead of going ahead and working hard to achieve the things that I want to achieve, I create an image of having achieved them already in my head and live with that, that fantasy of having it all. And then the reality hits me and it's so painful, yeah? Because again now, if imagine in my daydreaming world, I own this, I have a house, I have an apartment, my children are happy, I'm able to provide this and that, I'm traveling the world, because those things are there. Sometimes I go to the extent of, building those kind of fantasies. But I'm just thinking that in the reality, imagine now my child is sick, I can't afford the bills, or maybe I need to go somewhere, I don't even have enough money for, transport, you don't have a car, you don't have those things that you're built in your head. So I spend most of my time in that place of that is not real than in the real world. And then I feel like those are some of the reasons why I keep saying that I wasted my life, because I wasn't real with myself, I wasn't real with the things that I was going through. But in my head, I was feeling like I need to achieve this and that. Instead of focusing on the daily steps to achieving them, I'm there trying to daydream and build a life that does not exist. So it's painful, and coming out of it can also be very painful depending on the environment that you create. And like any other habit, it's consistency. It's consistent effort to try to be able to negate it, to stop it, and to live a better life. So it's a short sharing, but it's something that most people don't even think they go through. But if I'm going through it, this is what I've come to conclude, then somebody else is going through it and they probably don't know, or they know but they don't know that it's a problem. What people may think it's not normal, it's a psychological thing. It's just it hasn't been classified as a disorder yet, but psychologically it has a name, they've diagnosed it, and there's a way of getting out of it. So if it's extreme, please seek medical help, visit a hospital, get a psychiatrist, get something that will help you get out of it. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and I hope this one is a wake-up call, that you'll do something about it. Thank you so much for watching. Connect with me on the social media pages. My name is Sonia Odek on all my social media pages. I love hearing from you guys, and above all, if these things sort of touch you in one way or another, I would like to request that you subscribe, you share with your friends, you comment and like, and help me grow my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening for now. See you in the next one. Bye.